The wedding celebration was exactly what my sister Melissa had dreamed of. Sophisticated hall with a view of the water, classical ensemble, pyramid of sparkling drinks, 200 attendees in evening wear. She had poured her heart into this day, organized every element, and she had earned it. What she hadn't earned was turning her wedding speech into yet another chance to belittle me. And I want to express gratitude to my relatives, Melissa announced through the speaker, stunning in her bridal gown. Particularly my mom and dad who stood by me during my legal studies. Unlike certain individuals, I selected a dependable professional route. She avoided eye contact with me, but all others turned my way. Soft chuckles spread among the guests. I was placed at table 9, far from the main family setup, which included parents, elders, and Melissa's fresh relatives-in-law. Table 9 sat close to the service area, occupied by remote relations and acquaintances who hardly recalled my identity. Our folks always advised us, Melissa went on, pursue learning, secure a genuine position, create a solid tomorrow. I'm glad to declare I followed through. She lifted her flute to reliability, accomplishment, and handling matters properly. The audience clapped. Mother and father smiled widely from the primary spot. I was 28 years of age. I'd launched quantum games at 22, developed it from my dorm room into an entity that transformed the sector. Yet to my kin, I remained merely tinkering with digital entertainment. The addresses proceeded. Father rose next. I'm incredibly proud of Melissa, he declared, his tone heavy with feeling. She finished first in her law program, cleared the exam on her initial attempt, and secured a role at Whitmore and Associates. That's a true milestone. That's the sort of triumph that fills a parent with joy. He halted, gazed straight at me from afar. I only hope both my offspring grasped the importance of diligence and valid occupations. The message was obvious. Melissa applied effort. I did not. My brother-in-law Jason addressed afterward, discussing how Melissa's commitment and expertise motivated him, how she embodied the finest of her age group. Determined, trained, devoted to superiority. Not like those tech youngsters who believe they can strike it rich fast with software and titles, Jason inserted, earning amusement. Melissa invested the actual labor. I drank my water and glanced at my device beneath the cloth. 3 messages from my finance director. Rankings release in 20 minutes. Entire staff is prepared. Well done ahead of time, leader. I surveyed the banquet space. Mother was wiping her eyes with a napkin, flooded with admiration for Melissa. Father was exchanging grips with Jason's dad, likely chatting about their thriving kids. Melissa shone, encircled by admirers. And over there, by the doorway, I noticed a familiar face, Catherine Chin, lead writer at Forbes. We had conversed twice amid the confirmation steps for the ranking. She mentioned she could drop in. She knew Jason's kin. Our gazes connected across the area. She gave a subtle nod and began heading my direction. Pardon me, I told my seat companions, none of whom paid attention regardless. I encountered Catherine midway by the counter. Alex, she murmured softly. Well done. The ranking activates in 15 minutes. I know, I replied. Your relatives are unaware, correct? No. She looked toward the main setup where my folks were seated. That will be quite an instance. That's an understatement, I responded. We chatted briefly about the Forbes feature. A complete spotlight on the youngest independent billionaire in the entertainment field. 28 years young. Personal value $2.1 billion. Enterprise worth at $8.5 billion following our recent investment phase. Quantum Games employed 1,200 staff in 4 nations. Our leading title boasted 85 million engaged players. We had reshaped portable entertainment frameworks and were set to introduce an intelligence-driven system that would alter the field once more. But to mother and father, I was squandering my existence on digital pastimes. Catherine viewed her device. It's active. Forbes just released. In moments, devices began vibrating across the gathering. Subtly initially, a handful of attendees viewing alerts, staring twice at displays, murmuring to nearby folks. Then additional devices appeared. The murmurs increased in volume. I observed it ripple through the space like a surge. Section by section, individuals examining devices, absorbing content, appearing stunned, glancing at me. Melissa remained by the dessert, chuckling with her attendants, unaware. Then a person at the primary setup checked their device. Jason's dad, an entrepreneur who followed Forbes' rankings, I saw his eyes expand. He bent toward father, displayed the screen. Father's complexion drained. He seized the device, scanned it, scanned again, shifted to stare at me from distance. Mother saw his look, took the device from him. Her palm covered her lips. The melody from the classical group appeared to diminish. More individuals were viewing devices now. The hum of dialogue altering from nuptial joy to astonishment and bewilderment. Is this accurate? That's her sibling, Alex Chin. That's Melissa's sister, the entertainment tycoon. Melissa eventually sensed an issue. The atmosphere in the space had transformed. She glanced about puzzled, then noticed everyone fixating on devices and at me. What's happening? She inquired, her tone echoing in the abrupt hush. Catherine Chin advanced, skilled and calm. Best wishes on your nuptials, Melissa. I'm Catherine Chin from Forbes. I was present to chat with your sister, Alex. Melissa eyed Catherine, then me. Hello, sister. Why? We just issued our yearly tycoons ranking. Catherine stated Alex is highlighted as the youngest independent tycoon in entertainment. Her firm, Quantum Games, is assessed at $8.5 billion. Her individual value is $2.1 billion. The space fell mute. Melissa gawked at me. That's not Alex lacks a firm. She creates digital titles. She established and manages one of the top thriving entertainment firms globally, Catherine explained. Quantum Games, 85 million engaged players, innovative intelligence tech, alliances with all key digital stages. The spotlight is on Forbes.com currently. Attendees were accessing it, absorbing it, their expressions moving from doubt to astonishment. Father rose from the setup. His expression read, Alex, is this factual? I approached the primary setup, fully conscious that all observed. Yes, it's factual, but you mentioned you informed us you were developing titles, small, portable titles. I informed you I established an entertainment firm. You labeled it a pastime. Mother was navigating the Forbes spotlight on another's device. This claims you have over 1,000 staff, 1,200 precisely. We recently added another group in Tokyo. And your value? She struggled to utter the figure. $2.1 billion, I stated. Based on this morning's assessment, Melissa was wagging her head. This lacks logic. You operate from residence. You don hoodies and casual shoes. You lack even a proper workspace. I maintain 5 workspaces in 4 nations, I explained. I operate from residence when not journeying since I am able. That's among the advantages of creating your own firm. Jason's dad voiced, viewing his device. It mentions here, you originated the portable entertainment framework that 60% of the sector now employs. That's our Synapse Central system. I stated, we authorized it to most leading creators. And you hold alliances with Apple, Google, Microsoft. He stopped, navigating. You addressed at the Title Creators Conference as the main speaker. Previous year, I verified. Father remained upright, clutching the rear of his seat. Why withhold this from us? I attempted. Father, numerous occasions at holiday meal 2 years back, I mentioned we had secured Series C investment. You inquired when I would obtain a genuine position. Previous holiday, I noted we had reached 50 million players. You suggested perhaps I could apply that background for promotion roles at actual firms. Mother's tone was faint, but you never indicated you were that it was this extensive. I informed you my firm was progressing well. You presumed progressing well implied I could cover housing costs. Melissa regained her tone, and it carried a bite. This is my nuptial day. You couldn't have disclosed prior. You had to allow this emerge now. I was unaware Forbes would release today, I stated. But frankly, Melissa, would it have altered anything? You used your speech discussing genuine positions and genuine paths and handling matters the correct way your way, since that's what ordinary folks do. They earn qualifications. They secure positions. They develop paths the correct way, not by tinkering with titles. I did not tinker with titles, Melissa. I created an $8.5 billion firm that supports 1,200 individuals and reaches 85 million players. That's quite tangible. One of Melissa's legal program peers voiced. Hold on, Quantum Games, you produced Infinity Quest, my group did. Yes, my children are fixated on that title. All children's are, it's omnipresent. Another attendee added. You're the one who crafted that intelligence setup everyone's discussing. The one set to transform portable entertainment. We reveal the complete system next month. Jason was gawking at me as if seeing me anew. At the practice meal, I mentioned digital titles were for youngsters. I suggested you ponder legal studies. I recall, I stated, and you merely remained silent. What could I have responded, Jason? You sought no dialogue. You were offering guidance to someone you presumed required it. Father lowered heavily around the space. I could observe individuals accessing pieces, viewing discussions. I'd conducted locating images from sector gatherings, where I'd addressed on stages with tech leaders and funders. My Uncle Richard neared device in grip. Alex, this piece claims you rejected a $3 billion purchase proposal from Microsoft previous year. It lacked suitability for the firm. You rejected $3 billion. I'm constructing something grander than a swift departure, I stated. Mother was weeping now, but I couldn't discern if from joy or regret or disorientation. Why were we unaware? How were we unaware? Because you never inquired what I truly performed, I stated softly. You inquired if I managed expenses. You inquired if I required funds. You proposed aiding me locate genuine positions. But you never once requested I describe my firm, my efforts, my goals. You merely presumed I was struggling since I avoided your route. Melissa's honor attendant voiced attempting to rescue the instance. Well, this is thrilling update. Let's raise glasses to both siblings. One a thriving lawyer, one a thriving business starter. But the atmosphere in the space had altered entirely. Attendees were searching me, absorbing pieces, viewing clips. The nuptials had faded to secondary to the disclosure that the family letdown was actually a tycoon. Catherine's chin neared again. Alex, I regret further interruption, but various sources seek statements and CNBC inquires if you're free for discussion tomorrow. Tomorrow suits, I stated. There's also curiosity in your kin tale, Catherine stated cautiously. The difference between appearance and truth. I'd prefer no statement on that, I stated. Melissa stood rigid by the dessert, her ideal nuptial instance fully disrupted. I truly sympathized for her. This was meant to be her occasion. I approached her. Melissa, I'm regretful this surfaced today. I didn't arrange it thus. Didn't arrange it. Her tone was cutting. You've held this for years. You permitted us all to regard you as heading nowhere. You permitted father-deliver addresses on genuine paths while you're valued billions. Would you have regarded me differently if aware? She parted lips, shut them. We both recognized the response. That's my thought, I stated. The gathering staggered onward, but it never recovered. Individuals kept nearing me, some truly curious in my efforts. Others abruptly curious in funding chances or roles for their offspring or links. I might have. Father attempted thrice to converse with me. Each instance he began with some form of I was unaware or you should have disclosed. Mother drew me aside near the night's close. Please comprehend, Alex. We merely concerned for you. We desired you to possess safety, steadiness. We desired you to fare well. I fare well, Mother. I've fared well for 6 years. You merely declined to accept it. But how could we know? You never, I disclosed repeatedly. You failed to hear. Jason's dad trapped me by the counter. Alex, I operate in property sales. I'd adore discussing prospects. Your firm must require workspace store sites. My finance director manages that. I stated naturally. Naturally. Perhaps we could share a drink. I'd adore gaining insight on your operations. Everyone sought something now. Now that they knew as the gathering concluded, I located Melissa solitary for an instant eyeing her nuptial dessert. I'm regretful your occasion was overtaken. I stated she avoided my gaze. Do you realize the most painful aspect? Everyone will recall my nuptials as the occasion we learned my sister was a tycoon, not as my nuptial occasion as your occasion. That lacked my intent, wasn't it? She eventually eyed me. You sat there entire evening hearing us discuss genuine paths and genuine triumph, aware you could release this revelation anytime. I released nothing, Melissa. Forbes issued their ranking. I held no sway over schedule, but you were aware it approached. You could have alerted us, readied us like you readied me for your speech where you suggested I was idle and unaccomplished. She recoiled. I care for you, Melissa. I stated I'm proud of you for becoming a lawyer, for applying effort, for reaching your aims. But you couldn't offer me the same respect. You presumed since I avoided what you comprehended. I avoided anything valuable. You create digital titles, she stated. But conviction weakened in her tone. Now I constructed a firm that delivers pleasure to 85 million individuals, that supports 1,200 individuals who maintain their households with solid pay and perks, that originated tech now utilized across an entire sector. Is that not valuable? She offered no reply. I departed the gathering early before the formal close. Catherine Chin accompanied me out. That was charged, she stated. That's one term for it. For whatever value, the piece is receiving huge interaction. Your tale connects with many folks. The undervalued youth who erected a domain. I didn't erect it to demonstrate to them. I stated, I know. Catherine stated, that's what renders it stronger. The following morning, my device burst. Messages from distant kin I hadn't contacted in ages. Well done notes, pleas for advances, fundings, role prospects. Abruptly, all sought to reunite. Melissa dispatched one message. Mother and father desire to share a meal to converse. Will you attend? I eyed the message extended period. Eventually, I responded, I require some space. 3 days on, I conducted the CNBC discussion. They inquired about quantum games, about our tech, about our goals for ahead. They also inquired about my kin. It's intricate, I stated. My kin cares for me. They merely held a very particular notion of what triumph should resemble, and when I failed that picture, they presumed I failed. Does it trouble you that they failed to acknowledge your milestones? I pondered it. It once did. Now I grasped their acknowledgement lacked the purpose. I constructed quantum games since I adored entertainment, since I perceived potentials others missed because I desired to craft something significant. Whether my kin comprehended that or not failed to alter the efforts, but certainly it pained. Naturally it pained, but it also instructed me something vital. You cannot await others to confirm your goals, particularly when they view your existence through their own restricted perspective. After the discussion broadcast, Mother rang. We viewed, she stated, your father and I, we viewed the entire. Okay, you were correct on all. We did belittle you. We did presume. We did. Her tone broke. We disappointed you as folks, Alex. Mother, no. Allow me complete. We were so certain that triumph implied legal studies or health or business paths, the matters we comprehended that we failed to perceive what you were constructing. And rather than being inquisitive, rather than posing queries and gaining knowledge, we merely belittled you for years. I remained silent. Your father desires to converse with you. Melissa too. They're both present. Will you visit, please? I gazed out my residence window, my $6 million top-floor residence that I'd never mentioned to them at the urban view below. I'll visit, I stated, but I require you to grasp something initially. Anything. This concerns not funds or triumph or Forbes rankings. This concerns regard about perceiving me for who I am, not who you desired me to become. If we will restore our bond, that must transform. I comprehend, she stated. We comprehend, and we're prepared to truly hear now. Hey, I stated, I'll arrive tonight. I ended the call and rested for an instant in the silence. The Forbes piece continued receiving remarks, distributions, press attention, but none matched this importance, the opportunity to hold a genuine dialogue with my kin. Finally, whether we could mend what fractured, I was uncertain, but for the first instance in 6 years, they were truly prepared to perceive me.